Hello, Andy. This is Colin. I won't be able to get in tonight. I'm sweating like a pig. I'm sweating like a pig. I'm sweating.
And we're back. Still David, still One Up Gaming, still episode 359 of the One Up Gaming podcast. So this week we have been playing Murderous Muses. Now this is a weird game. It's a live action sort of like video, like proper recorded video footage of people. It's also a very weird psychedelic sort of like computer puzzle VR weirdness, and because I don't do puzzle games, I could not play this game to save my life. I really enjoyed how simplistic the 3D environments looked and how they affected the game, and I really did like the actual atmosphere of the game. I just didn't like the puzzles of the game, and I just don't know, I'm not the brightest of people, and some of these puzzle games, I think you find a Matchbox car and 3 hours into the game it's like, oh, didn't you know you had to put it upside down and on this special little tray in the corner of the room, because that you have to do that to unlock the next 3 hours of gameplay. And it's just these weird games like that I just don't find fulfilling. Good puzzles that are baked in with realistic sort of like solutions and outcomes, things like that I quite enjoy, because I can work that way. But when it's just you have to do something that a developer wanted you to do because he just put it in there, I just don't find those sort of games good. But I did like the 3D environments. I loved how everything was melding together and bleeding into each other. The next game we played, Injustice 2. Now this is just a one-on-one fighting game based on like the Mortal Kombat sort of engine, made by NetherRealm Studios. And this one is the DC sort of like game with the Injustice sort of characters. It was good. It seemed a lot more simple than Mortal Kombat. Like you could just do one button press to do combos and to do earth ending moves and things like that. But it looked nice and it flowed nice. And I guess in this sort of game, with the DC license and all that, you just need it to look good and play well. That's the main things. Never got into this game. Mortal Kombat I loved. Street Fighter 2 and Street Fighter 4 and like Street Fighter 6 I've had a good go at. But this game I just didn't get into. Same as like Tekken 6, was it the last one, or 7? Was 7 the last one? Can't remember. That whatever the last Tekken was, I never really got into that either. I've just downloaded it again, so I might give it another go to see how it plays. But Injustice 2, good game, just not great. Next up, Shoot Vader's The Beginning. Now this one is a weird game. Now it looks nice, all HDified graphics and all that, but the gameplay is very much similar to like a Space Invaders, like a Galaxian, like that sort of thing where you're at the bottom of the screen and you're shooting up at the enemies, but it mixes a lot more modern elements into the game. And I was on this game for a long time. I loved it. It's very much pick and play, very much score based, attack mode, you know, like a lot of these old style games were. But this game, it's just got that something extra, something a little bit different, and I loved it. I really did like this, and I would recommend this game. It's cheap, it's a budget game, but it's an amazing little game. I really did enjoy it. Next up, Tin Hearts. Now this one is, if anyone's old enough to remember Lemmings, you know, where it's like little tiny creatures going across the screen. You click on them and make them dig, click on them to make a bridge, or climb, or give it umbrellas to float down, things like that, and they'll just walk off until they die. You know, just walk straight off the edge. They don't have their own mind. You have to tell them what to do. This is a similar game to that, but in like a 3D environment. They only walk in a 2D direction, so you have to put puzzles in place to change the direction of where they're going through the level, and it's nice, but the camera was a little bit wonky and things were a little bit too far away from you and things just get in the way. You can't tell what's happening. So with all that, you could tell it's a budget game. And when I say budget, I mean like the Shoot Vaders game before it was a budget game, but it plays so much better. It's an amazing little game, whereas this one is cheap, cheerful, and it's a bit wonky and a bit chunky, and it just doesn't have that feel of a game that I would come back to. So I won't be recommended Tin Hearts. Next up, we have Gimmick Special Edition. Now, from what I can gather, this game came out in about early 90s, 91, 92, that sort of time. And this is like a special edition version of that game up now on like the Xbox, the PS5s, the Switches, probably on Steam as well. All these sort of weird and wonderful devices. It's a hard as nails 2D platform game. And when I say that, I mean it's bloody hard. It really is. It took me all my energy to get off the first level. That's how hard this game was. And I didn't work out until quite far into the first level that you have a rewind mechanic. So you can like get a little bit in, die, press rewind and just come back a little bit and then play again. And because of that, it made it a little bit easier. But some of the stuff on it, like the first boss that you fight, they're chucking like bombs at you, and if you get hit once you die, and they're just chucking them across the screen and you're like bouncing around trying to dodge these, and it's just, I'd say it's impossible, but I did it, but I just flukily did it by shooting randomly in places and hoped for the best, and it worked. So I don't think I have the skills for this game. I don't have the patience for this game anymore. That's why the old 8-bit, 16-bit times, I didn't enjoy it as much. I loved more like the 32-bit when it got more into the arcade pick and play, sort of like racers, shooters, fighters, all that sort of stuff. So Gimmick Special Edition, although it's good, I can't recommend it myself. And the last games that we played this week was Stubbs the Zombie in Rebel Without a Pulse. Now this game, I think it was one of the 2 games that was made with the Halo engine. Wasn't the other one Brute Force? Is it Brute Force? Can't remember. But this one is a third person behind the action game. You are a zombie, you eat people, and then they come back as zombies. You can control where they go, you can whistle to get their attention, like point them where you're going to attack things. And it's a good little game. You can tell it's like 20 odd years old now or whatever, because it is chunky and clunky with the controls and things like that. But the heart's in the right place, the gameplay is quite good, and I really enjoyed like some of the stupidity of making a game with like the 50s style art, you know, the art style, the humour, the movie references, all that kind of stuff. And it's got a bloody good soundtrack of music on there. So before we go, we'd just like to say that every week we have the top 40s on a Monday, like top 40 UK charts for games. We play the Boostroid on a Tuesday, we have Which Is Best on a Wednesday, we have our Thursdays, which is a Retro Thursday, either a gameplay, either talking about a series of games, talking about developers, things like that. On a Friday we have the podcast, which hopefully you're watching. On a Saturday we have the games being played this week, and on a Sunday we have the weekly gaming news. So that's what we'll be doing, that's what we've done. Please visit the website oneupgaming.co.uk, and yeah, thank you. We'll be back after this quick break with this week's news.